Let's look together at the basic parts of a sewing machine. If you have a machine, I'd like for you to find these parts on your machine as we go. Sewing machines come in all shapes and colors and sizes, but they all have the same basic parts. They may look a little different or be in slightly different places, but trust me, they are there. The first thing you'll need to do when you set up your machine is attach the power cord. Many machines have one cord with 3 ends. One end connects to the machine, one plugs into your power source, and the final end is the foot pedal. Some machines will have 2 separate cords for power and the pedal, but the concepts are the same. The foot pedal typically rests on the floor and is pressed with your foot to start sewing. The farther down you press the pedal, the faster it goes. Beginner sewers should start with a light pressure on the pedal to keep the machine at a moderate pace, making it easier for them to control the fabric feeding through the machine. Use the on-off switch to turn your machine on. Then try pressing down the foot pedal to see the needle move up and down. The spool pin is usually at the top of the machine. It will either stand upright or lay on its side. Either way, this is where your spool of thread rests while you are sewing. If your spool pin is depressed into the machine when you first set it up, this was just to keep it from breaking in storage. You'll probably find that it twists or pulls right up to its full height. Also on top of the machine, you'll see something that looks like a short spool pin, but it will not elongate. This is the bobbin winder. The bobbin is a tiny spool of thread that is housed in the bottom of your machine. Unlike spools of thread that we buy pre-wound, you will wind your own bobbins with the thread color of your choice. To do this, you will use the bobbin winder. We'll show you how to wind the bobbin in another video. The thread uptake lever guides the thread up and down as you sew. It will move up and down when you press the foot pedal or when you turn the hand wheel. The hand wheel is usually on the right side of the machine when you are facing it. It allows you to manually raise and lower the needle. This comes in handy when you need to hand sew a precise distance or number of stitches with the machine, need to move the needle to the up or down position, and when you are having trouble getting a thick fabric to move through the machine automatically. Right next to the thread uptake lever, you will find the tension plates and upper tension control dial. They help you set the tension the machine places on the thread. The tension plates place the thread under tension, and the dial is used to set it to the desired tension. Most beginner sewers will not manipulate the tension very often, but this is useful if you are sewing with certain materials. Other dials on your machine may include the stitch selection guides. These allow you to choose the type of stitch you want if your machine offers a variety of decorative stitches. And the dials specific to stitch width and stitch length do exactly what they say. If the stitch width guide is set to anything but 0, you will get zigzag stitches. The greater the number, the wider the zigzag. Most sewers will set their stitch length to a nice medium length and leave it there for most projects. Setting the stitch length too short can cause bunching of the fabric in some cases. Also, when you make a mistake, it can be difficult to rip out very tiny stitches without ruining your material. Conversely, a very long stitch length is very easy to break and is not good for most projects. It is typically used in basting, which is a temporary stitch that you plan to rip out later. As we move down the machine to where all the action happens, we find a large opening called the throat of the machine. We also have the needle, which is different from hand sewing needles because the eye, or opening of the needle, is near the pointy end and not the opposite end. You'll also notice that on the opposite end there is a flat side. This flat side is typically oriented in a specific direction when loading it into the machine. The needle's obvious job is to hold the thread and move it up and down through the fabric to create stitches. The needle is held in place by the needle clamp screw. This is the screw-like knob to the right of the needle. When loosened, it releases the needle. When tightened, it holds it securely in place. There is no need to over-tighten this clamp. Also in the general area of the needle is the presser foot and presser foot holder. The presser foot holder is the shaft that holds the flat presser foot in place. There are a number of different feet available for machines, but most of us will use this general foot. It presses down on the fabric, allowing it to be moved through the machine as you sew. Like the needle, the presser foot has its own clamp screw to hold it in place. It's usually found on the left side and looks like a larger version of the needle clamp screw and functions much the same way. To raise or lower the presser foot, we use the presser foot lever. It is usually found toward the back of your machine. As you raise and lower it, of course, the presser foot raises and lowers with it. It should always be in the down position when you start to sew. The feed dogs are directly below the presser foot. They look like toothy strips and they will pull the fabric away from you as you sew. There is no need to push or pull on your fabric, as this will only cause bunching. To back up, use the reverse or back stitch function on your machine. This button or lever can be found in several places on the front of your machine. When you hold it down, it allows your feed dogs to reverse their motion and pull your fabric back to you. This is helpful when you need to back up a few stitches, but it is most often used to lock your seams by reversing a bit when you start and stop a seam to lock it in place. More often than not, regardless of the direction you are sewing, you will want to sew in as straight a line as possible. The throat plate provides guides for you to help you know how deep your seam will be and, if followed, will help you keep the seams straight. Most machines have a flatbed attachment. This attachment can serve as a storage container for machine accessories, but it also increases the surface area for your fabric to rest on when sewing. Sometimes, though, you will want a narrower surface, and the flatbed attachment can be removed to allow that. If you have a front-load bobbin, you will find the shuttle cover behind the flatbed attachment, unless, of course, your flatbed is on the back of your machine. Behind the shuttle cover, you will find the bobbin cover. You can remove the bobbin cover and bobbin for winding or changing. Be sure that when you replace the bobbin, you correctly line it up and secure it in the shuttle casing so that your machine will catch the thread properly and you will be less likely to experience jams. If your machine has a top-loading bobbin like this one, you will simply remove the top plate and access the bobbin spool in that way. Now that you're familiar with the parts of your machine, it's time to learn to wind a bobbin and thread your machine so we can get started having so much fun.